Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. Now, before we get into going, just a reminder I'm the guy who thought managing co hosts was a good idea on a podcast. Running this podcast is kind of like managing the bullpen. Too many mouths, not enough strikes. Half the time, I feel like I still see Ryan Brazier warming up in the eighth inning. Joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick in Toronto is like a Red Sox fan at a Canadian Tim Hortons. Loud, angry, and completely confused by why everyone's so polite while he's melting down. He doesn't just hate losing, he hates the idea of losing. I swear if the Sox fall behind 1-0 tomorrow night against the Tigers, Nick will already be writing on Twitter in all caps about the Red Sox obituary. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox are now 87-72 after losing Game 3 to the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto. Top of the first, Jarren Duran pops out. Trevor Story lines out. Alex Bregman strikes out. That's three batters, three different ways to ruin your evening. Bottom half, Brian Bayo starts strong, strikes out George Springer, gets Guerrero and Barger to roll over. Scoreless after one. Hey, that's as good as it got. Second and third innings, more of the same. Yoshida flies out. Romy Gonzalez and Rafaela strike out. Wong caps the third with a foul tip strikeout that looked more like an accident. The Jays got some base runners but stranded them. Basically 5 innings of baseball's version of Ambien. Now, buckle up. Sixth inning, Story throws one into the dirt like he's auditioning for the Patriots. Bayo loads the bases. Justin Wilson trots in, and Dalton Varsho sends one orbiting into the Toronto night. 4-run bomb. Jays break it open. Couple batters later, George Springer says, "Hey, me too," and launches another 2-run home run. 6 runs in the inning, and that was basically the ball game. The Sox finally did push 1 run across in the 7th. Duran doubled, Story singled him in, but Bregman immediately killed the mood with a double play. Classic Boston rally. Here's a spark, and now it's gone. Final score, Blue Jays 6, Red Sox 1. The Sox managed 5 hits all night, which is less than Toronto had in the 6th inning alone. And let me tell you, there was no celebration in that clubhouse. No champagne, no goggles, no "we shocked the world" speeches. Just John Henry sitting in the corner, wondering why he flew out to Toronto in the first place. Guy could have stayed on his boat in Nantucket. Instead, he wasted a trip for this. So again, no corks popped tonight, unless it was the fans in Toronto opening up their Molson Canadians. And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day.
Jim, don't you just love being teased? Teased is tonight's word of the day for the Boston Red Sox. They get you right where they want. They hype them up. They get John Henry and Sam Kennedy to Toronto. Oh boy, it's time to party. Wrong. You can't hit a bullpen game of the Toronto Blue Jays. That's not to take away from anything from some of their relievers in their pen, but come on, Red Sox, to get no hit. It was a perfect game through 6 innings. That's an effing joke. Come on. And you want to get to the playoffs with that? All this did tonight to me is set me off and just realize this team going in, if they make it to the playoffs, it's going to be, to me, you're out. You're one and done. You'll get a wild card series and bye-bye. You're not going anywhere. You can't consistently hit. You can't get out of jam. It's just not going to happen. So tonight was a tease. Now we get Apple TV tomorrow night. I am not paying for it. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'll listen to the radio broadcast. I'm not paying Apple another dime to watch for this season, to be wasting time or to waste money or to get your heart ripped out so they have to do it Saturday or Sunday. We'll see what happens when they return back to Fenway. Detroit did win against the Guardians. We'll go over that a little bit later, but this is a big teaser. Big teaser tonight.
It sure was. Nick Face's word of the day is presented by John Henry's Travel Agency, where you can waste a trip just like where you can waste a trip just like he did going to Toronto.
Yeah, I'm sure
Um,
Linda put him on that plane. Get out of here, John.
yeah. So we'll be a little bit lighthearted today. Just a couple talking points. Brian Bayo, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. Of course, you look at that box score, Nick, and it doesn't look too bad, but in reality, it was. I was very disappointed in Bayo. He needed to step up a little bit. He started off a little strong, but he got himself out of his own injuries, so to speak, especially with that comebacker from Vladdy, start that double play. But I mean, other than that, I was hoping for more. Obviously a win, but we were hoping for more. What are your thoughts? What did you see from Bayo tonight?
I was incredibly disappointed with Bayo. Very much so. I'm seeing a guy that's what we've seen in the past 2 years when he's throwing. When he gets into a jam, he crumbles like a cookie. Those cookie crumbles were all over the place on the mound for him tonight. Trevor Story made a bad play yet again. I'm sure we'll discuss that as the show goes on here tonight. But that set that inning up for failure. Real routine play at short. It was a bad throw. Then the walk hit. Then the hit by batter. And there's the pull. Cora comes out. And Justin Wilson gives up his first ever grand slam in his career. It was just an 0-2 pitch that was poorly located and not good overall. But let's also be brutally honest here, because that's what we also do. The Red Sox had no business even winning this game tonight. Even if they were able to finagle some 1-0 sort of one-run game, they didn't deserve to win this game tonight. They put their feet up. They decided they didn't have an approach whatsoever at the plate. This is what you get.
Look, I can understand and appreciate the fact that when you are trying to, how do I want to say it? When you're trying to figure out how you want to attack a pitcher, if you're one of the Red Sox hitters and you got a starter in there from the opposite team, and maybe you kind of like look at some stats or look at some graphs, whatever it is, after your first at bat. How did he get me out? What am I going to take into that second at bat where I can make some adjustments and perhaps have a different outcome? And then what happens is you got a new pitcher in. You got a lefty, you got a righty, you got a lefty, you're righty. So, and Lou Merlone brought this up too in the broadcast. He says it would drive me nuts trying to have a bullpen game because it's always a different pitcher that I'm going to face. So, look, I understand that too, but at the same token, that's where guys like Pete Fatsi, Alex Cora, they've got to be able to try to do a little bit more to get, their players figuring these out and look at these statistics a little bit more. This is just an embarrassment upon riches as far as I'm concerned. And Thayer mentioned it yesterday. He says, the baseball gods are going to strike them down for getting Alejandro Kirk out at first base on that, potential
He was
base.
right.
And he was right, and that's what happened tonight. We're going to go a little bit quicker tonight, so it's time for Dugout Dipshits.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Dugout Dipshits.
And Dugout Dipshits is presented by Toronto Tourism, because the only thing worse than watching the Sox collapse is paying Canadian prices for it.
And also having to witness John Henry at the Rogers Center.
So we have 3 Dugout Dipshits today. The first one, Nick, is Trevor Story. Your reactions?
We have a bad problem right now with Story, and it's at the point of having a discussion about him playing shortstop. It's at that point. This is what you got. You don't have anything better. I jokingly said it's time for David Hamilton last night. I'm not going to do that because I know what Jim does to me when he puts him up there, and I don't need that crap in my box tonight. So, no, David Hamilton is not coming to the rescue. There he is. There he is. Sound the trumpet. Sound the horn. There's our weapon on our team. There he is. But overall, with Story here, I'm not sure what it is, if it's an injury or if it's fatigue of playing a long season. But I'm now at the point where I cringe when a ball is hitting his direction, and I shouldn't be. I don't know what they're going to do as the season ends. Obviously, Story's going to be there, but I'm looking ahead to next season, and I don't know if we have a discussion here about position changing or whatever happens with the option here with Trevor Story as well too. He may be cruising to second base territory. We liked him there with the final season that we saw at Bogarts, but overall, I'm concerned with what the outlook is here with Story. I'm leading to believe this is something injury related. I really am, and just breaking down the long season. I don't particularly know if this is mental. I don't know if it is. I was watching that play a little bit more. I rewinded a couple times to kind of see the reaction and see what was going on. And I don't know, he looked a little stiff. There's something going on, I think, maybe with the arm, maybe a little bit. I don't know if it's cause for concern majorly, but he's definitely fighting something, Jim.
Yeah, look, there. He's really shown a lot of mental gaffes over the last 4 to 6 weeks of the season, and this is not the time for it. The other thing is he's still contributing offensively, so I don't know quite what it is. I don't know if he's just kind of rushing things too much. It seems like since Roman Anthony went down, that his defense has been a little bit uncrisp, is the word I'll call it. So I don't know if it's just like we were talking last night with Thayer about Duran and him pressing. Story could be pressing too, at least defensively. I don't know. The other thing is too is that outside of Bregman, he's got a different second baseman, every once in a while. I mean, I know lately it's been a little bit more Romy at second, and obviously it's been low at first, but there are some tendencies there. Romy's at first, Hamilton's at second. So there's been a lot of kind of like musical chairs there that, sometimes you got to kind of who's a better who covers better, who doesn't, who can I, rely on to scoop a bad throw at first, who doesn't. So there's a lot of that when you start doing so many musical chairs with your infielders, but I don't know. It's something to watch. It's something to listen in the off season. I'll tell you what. If there is an injury, Nick, you will hear zero about it um, until the
The season's
possibility
over.
of him. Yeah, until the season's over, and until we know for sure if he's going to opt out or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
that's
my
the other
feel,
point.
because my feeling is here is that there's no way that he's going to disclose or the team's going to disclose an injury if he's going to opt out. It'll completely kill that opportunity. And then, where do you go from there? Where you go
Yep.
from there is the Red Sox would have to guarantee the third year and turn around and, negate his opt out. And I don't think the Red Sox want to be on the hook for a third year with Trevor Story. They want the 2 years, and I think they have had enough of him. Uh, Dugout dipshit number 2 is Justin Wilson. Nick, what did you see from Justin Wilson tonight? I know you touched on it earlier.
It was that 0-2 fastball. I mean, that thing was screaming, "Goner!" as soon as it was unleashed out of his arm. I can't I can't fault him too much though, Jim. I just can't. The guy, we talked about it. I think it was last night. It could have been the night prior, about how he's just been another guy in that bullpen that we've been able to trust. This was Bayo's mess. Let's not forget that. Bayo was the one that loaded the bases and created the disaster that was there. It was one run that was given up there from Wilson. So I can't fault him too much. The location was terrible. I that we can't take that away. But does it make me get concerned? I would say no, but I might be a little more pessimistic if he comes into a situation with runners on base. I think that's the one thing that I would like to hopefully not have to see. Have him have a clean inning to get him out of the inning unscathed. I think that's the way we have to do it in an ideal world.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I'm getting concerned of is if he's starting to, break down too now. Um, he's been a reliable guy, obviously, this whole season, and we've talked about this on the show many a times. But he could be breaking down, and my biggest concern is that if you are going to be, and for all sakes and circumstance in a postseason, you need him to be sharper than this. I mean, you're facing a left-handed batter in Varsho. You're coming into that situation. You can't give up a grand slam home run to Varsho in that instance. You just can't do it. So that really bothers me. Um, his numbers lately, I had it up here and it kind of just escapes me. Obviously today the two was it two hits? Yep,
It was 2 hits. Yep.
two hits, two earned runs for him actually because of the inherited runners, of course. On the 23rd, he had 1 1/3 innings and he had a walk. In the Tampa Bay series, 2/3 of an inning, two earned runs. In the Yankee series, 1 1/3, two earned runs. So he's been getting hit a little bit, and you know, is there any word on Bernardino? I mean, is it possible that there could be this swap for him and Bernardino? I mean, I don't know. I have a little bit more
They
trust in.
did say, I think it was a couple days ago, that Bernardino was the most likely of the bunch out of Hicks and some other guys that could potentially ramp up and get back. I believe Craig Breslow said that. Do I want to swap out? I don't know. I mean, I think I'd rather take Bernardino with like a Chris Murphy, but
Yeah, that's for
I
sure.
think I think with Justin Wilson, it's just a matter of I'm gonna keep it to my word, and I'm gonna say that tonight was just bad luck, poor location, inherited runners shouldn't have been in that situation. That's what I want to chalk that up to. Now, if something else occurs over the next 3 games here, and we see something more of a doomsday kind of scenario, I think it's open discussion to deciding how these rosters would get finalized if we do get to the playoffs. And I'm still saying that, Jim. If we get to the playoffs, I have to say that.
Well,
And the
I
only
have some
reason I'm
updated.
doing that is so I don't psych myself out. Do I
No, I
think
hear
they're
you.
going to make it? Yeah, I do. At the end of the day, I do. But I'm still saying if, and I'm just doing that because I need something definitive. I've been through it too much.
No, I
So
know.
if you want to get mad, if anybody wants to get mad at me for any of it, blame the Red Sox. Don't blame me. I need to see it clear, black and white, in color, whatever it is, so I know where we're at.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a few minutes in Wild Card Watch. Dipshit number 3 of the night, Nick, is John Henry, the owner of the Boston Red Sox. Tell me why he's a dipshit tonight.
I mean, he went to Toronto. He went to Toronto to see his team collapse. I mean, that's great. He just wasted all of his money and his freaking
Where
tire
the
miles.
where the hell have you been all season, John? Where?
Liverpool.
You
Liverpool.
just show up for a potential celebration?
Well, he's licking
Where
ice
have you
cream
been?
cones with Linda. Like that. Him and his
I mean,
ice cream cones.
the only other time that we even really sniffed John Henry is when he went to Kansas City to tell Devers play first base or I'm trading you. I mean, that's basically where we're at. Thanks a lot, John. I mean, good God, I swear to God,
He's tone deaf is what it is. He is so checked out, and he's just so englamored by knowing that this team could maybe get to that promised land that he has to just go and see it to believe it.
yeah. And what in Sam Kennedy was he doing there too?
Oh, that's his puppet. He needed something to play with on the plane.
Yeah, yeah.
His mouthpiece.
Yeah, yeah. It's unfortunate that either one of those bozos couldn't have actually had some kind of discussion tonight. Off camera, on camera, whatever, so that
Oh,
they could
they couldn't be
transfer.
bothered. They had to get to Tim Hortons. You know it in Canada. That's what
Yeah,
it's
they
all
got
about.
yeah. It's a double double and Tim Horton bucks. Wild card watch coming up.
And now it's time for the Wild Card Watch.
And so, Wild Card Watch is brought to you by Pepto Bismol because tracking this race will give you ulcers faster than the Sox bullpen. And if you need any, just call Nick. He has it right there for us.
Full stash, ready to go.
All right, so this is how we're going to end the show by discussing, obviously, this upcoming series and how it's going to play out. So here's where you're at. The New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays are winners today. So if my math is correct, 91 and 68 apiece. The Boston Red Sox have 3 games remaining, which means that the maximum amount of games they could win is 90. That puts them one off the pace from both the Yankees and the Blue Jays. And what that means, Nick, and everyone listening, is that the Toronto Blue Jays or the New York Yankees are guaranteed one of them will be the AL East champion, and the other will be the first seed wild card, the first wild card position. So that now leaves position 2 and position 3 of the wild card. And that can be made up of either A, Boston, B, number 2, Detroit, and number 3, the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros have 85 wins. The Tigers have 86. The Red Sox have 87. With 3 games remaining, if the Boston Red Sox win 1 game, they clinch. They will have 88. The Houston Astros could potentially sweep and have 88, but the Red Sox would have the season series. The Detroit Tigers, if the Red Sox win 1 and the Tigers win 2, so if they go 1 and 2 at home in this 3-game series, then both the Tigers and the Red Sox will have 88 wins apiece. But because the Tigers have the head-to-head, the Red Sox would automatically be the 3rd wild card. Detroit would be the 2nd. So, Nick, the reality here is this. Out of 3 games remaining, you go 2 and 1, you're the 2nd wild card. You go 1 and 2, you're the 3rd. If I have that right.
Well, what if you don't win any games? We need to make sure we get that. That's also important.
So if you win none and the Detroit Tigers sweep you, they are 89 wins. They're in position 2 as the wild card. Yep. And then it's a matter of what Houston does. Houston would have to win. Houston would have to run the table because that would get them to 88 wins. If the Houston Astros only win 2 of 3 against the Anaheim Angels, it's not enough because you have the tiebreaker.
Correct.
So if you get swept, the Astros still have to sweep.
That is correct.
So it's a really hard mountain for the Astros to fill to get a postseason berth here.
Yeah, that series in Oakland really, really hurt them. And I was very surprised. I mean, let's give kudos to the A's just for a second on them playing spoiler. They did it to the Red Sox. And then
they're a hard team.
They're are. They're not a joke.
Team.
Their stadium's a joke, but their team's not. They're going to be an up and coming team that I think is going to make some run here in the not so distant future. But I do think realistically, I actually think the Red Sox may get the 3rd spot. I could see the Tigers coming into Fenway taking 2 of 3. I could. And the reason I do that is because the Tigers were down in the dumps. They finally got back on their winning ways right here. They haven't had a great second half, as we know. It's been a massive collapse. But the Red Sox have had a terrible second half, too. Let's be real. Mm-hmm. Their team is not that good. Outside of Crochet, you got nothing that I can tell you is reliable.
Yeah. The other thing I think wholeheartedly is if Boston loses tomorrow and Houston loses, we win by default.
Yes.
which then sets up Saturday's game and Sunday's game. And it would be my opinion that the Red Sox will just kind of take a flyer on those two, because
Mhm.
I don't think they're gonna try to work hard to win both of those games in order to be the second wild card. I think they'll just take the fact that they're in and get ready for Tuesday. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think exactly the same. We know how much Cora loves to have the getaway lineups in there on days of any caliber. So if that happens, and leave it to the Red Sox for that situation to happen, where they lose, the Astros lose. Oh, okay, let's party. It's so typical
Yeah,
of
it's like Sweet Caroline in the eighth, down 9 runs.
it's exactly how it would feel. Yep, I couldn't agree more with that. So if that happens, which likely it could, right on Apple TV for three people
Yeah,
to see it.
that's beautiful. That's just absolutely beautiful.
Yep, that would
For no one to
be
watch it,
that
none
would
of the
be
Nesson
exactly the
crew.
situation. Yep, that would be exactly the situation for this team to ride into the playoffs, limping right in.
So, stupid question: Would Nesson automatically switch onto the broadcast to get into the dugout and the clubhouse to enjoy the celebration? I mean, would you be
You may
seeing
see.
Would you see Jemai Webster getting all skippy in there? I mean, what you know?
Oh, they're going to make sure Jamai gets a nice water dunk if they have their say in the matter. What they'll probably do, and I think we've seen this over the years with other playoff teams, because again, this hasn't happened really for the Red Sox in a long time. They have their postseason, their pregame show, and then they'll go to the postgame show, and then they'll let Apple cover the rest. I would be
Yeah.
very surprised if they didn't do something like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I would think so too. They'll probably have something. So, uh,
You won't see NBC Boston doing anything, as far as I know.
no, no,
They don't do much anymore. That network, it's a shame because it used to be really good with Comcast Sportsnet. Not the same anymore.
yeah. Which kind of leads me into tomorrow's show. Probably what we might do is, if there is some sort of celebration tomorrow night, regardless, we'll see how that pans out on Nesson. We may not be on exactly right after the game. We'll have to kind of play that out and see how it goes.
Yep.
But we're gonna end a little bit early tonight. Nick, any closing thoughts? Anything you wanted to discuss or bring up as it relates to the whole entire season, the next 3 games, anything that's burning in your mind?
I think it's very likely that we could see a loss tomorrow and a Houston loss, and then that would be the clincher for the Red Sox to get to the playoffs. I could totally see that happening. Um, it's unfortunate, but that's kind of where we're at. Who is our probable starter for tomorrow? Do we have one yet?
Yep, we do. In fact, that's what I was bringing up because I was going to close with that. So, the starters right now, it is Kyle Harrison against Mize. And on Saturday, it is early, and it looks like the Detroit Tigers do not have a scheduled starter for Saturday. We originally had Giolito for Sunday. It is not showing Giolito anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but Tarek Skubal is showing for Sunday for the
Okay.
Tigers now.
I wonder if
Um,
that will. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things and a lot of situations that would um, might change with those probables. Seeing what happens here tomorrow, I think it's a day by day case to see what lineups and what pitchers we'll see.
yeah, I agree too. And if Skubal is going to be that Sunday starter, um, which I still find it really surprising to see that right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, because I would think they would want to line themselves up for whoever they're going to be facing.
Yep.
But that being said, that is a 3 o'clock game. And if what we've been discussing so far tonight, that the Red Sox lose game 1 and and Houston loses, the idea was you would need to win Saturday and Sunday in order to make the second wild card. It's
Mhm.
not going to happen. And if Scooble's going to be pitching, there's no way in God's green earth that Alex Cora is going to try to win that game on Sunday. He won't give a rat's ass. So
Nope, I agree.
yeah, that will be just a wash. He'll just put you or me in the lineup if he could.
I'll take it.
So that's going to
Hey,
wrap it up.
if Jaron Duran and David Hamilton can do it, so can I, and so can you. I have full confidence in these two hitters right here.
Yeah. Before we close off, just a couple things from some of our listeners and viewers. So Red Sox Jesus, you better be there tomorrow, Jim. We'll be on. It's just we don't know if it's going to be. I may want to watch a little bit of the post game wrap up. So, but we'll definitely be on at some point. Um, Glenn also has been chiming in a little bit of late. Gents. And he also said, "Spot on, Nick. No free trial left." Not
That's
sure
the
what he was
Apple
referencing.
TV thing. The Apple
Yeah,
TV thing.
yeah. It's actually really it's gross the fact that that's going to be happening. So,
Yep.
and then finally, Brian mentioned his first home run against a lefty this year too, which you brought up earlier, Nick.
Wilson.
So,
Yep.
yeah. So, um, that being said, I'm going to call tonight. So, Nick, thanks for being on. We will see you tomorrow night. Again, start time is to be determined. We'll have to see exactly what happens. Of course, if Houston wins and the Red Sox lose, we'll be on right after the game. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up. Have a great night, everybody, and we will talk to you tomorrow.